My goodness, Fort Wayne, and you drive in, you pass the Children's Museum, there's a science and thing with science, they got the parks, then you get a baseball field, and you got a they're building cranes here. They're not destroying stuff, we're building stuff. So I couldn't figure out, and I said to the mayor, why not build on your strengths? Madison, Wisconsin's mayor said no. They build on their strengths. Omaha, Nebraska, Providence, Rhode Island. All cities that have said no to casinos, doing quite well. Name me a city with a casino that's doing well. Well, I rest my case. Show me. So the mayor, in a State of the City address, 2 weeks after we met with them, didn't mention casinos at all and talked upon building on the strength of the citizens. So I wrote him a note. I said, I'm glad, maybe listen to him. Well, I was glad until last February when they talked about bringing the casino in. And at that point, I was invited in, it was time to mobilize, and I'm here to say to your mayor directly, I hope he comes tomorrow, because we brought in someone that's going to give them the benefit of what a cost-benefit analysis on gambling is across the nation. And I'll let Earl say a word about that. But what your mayor presently has done is he's commissioned a study that the results have come back. And he says at this point, well, it's not up to me to decide. In other words, if it happens in Indianapolis, if they vote it, then I'll let the people of Fort Wayne vote. I'm going to tell you, that's not leadership. That's not someone that commissions a study, looked at it, and said, I want it or I don't want it. What he's done is given a blank check, and he's given the future of Fort Wayne, your city, to Indianapolis to determine. Now is that what you elect the mayor for? You all ought to be asking, why do you let Indianapolis decide the future of your city? You're the ones that live here, don't you? This is your community. So I'm here to say at this point, I don't understand why the mayor has allowed this thing to hang fire. If he's for it, then he ought to be down there pushing for it, and then you would see crowds of people that would be here that would be mobilizing because you'd have a runaway mayor. I guarantee you that. I've never been in Fort Wayne where there's been a meeting of people that wanted a casino. Have you been aware of any meeting where people that want casinos have organized? So what's this being driven by? Would it be promoters and politicians that are running their own agenda? So with that said, our hope is that at this moment in time in history, even at this late moment, that this mayor would address and say to the public that he elected him and he serves, whether he wants a casino or not. Now, I'll end by saying, too often, political leadership leaves a community in a vacuum. What that means is, instead of advertising yourself as a city that's opposed to casinos, Wall Street Journal, fastest growing cities in America are family-friendly cities. In other words, cities that are predicated on making themselves family-friendly are growing. And this was in 2007, before we've had the meltdown we've had. Now, if the mayor does not say no to a casino, he's sending a message, if you didn't get me this year, I'll get you next year. You can come back next year. I'm saying, why not declare yourself a casino-free city? Market yourself with your museums, your sport, your culture. What a message that would be. And then you say, well, you want to go live in Michigan City, you want to locate your company, go up there. But if you want to come down and locate in our community, which is casino-free, and we're not going to put one in, come here. He's wasting an opportunity to sell what's saleable. and that's the quality and the character of who you are. And to do that in a state that's the number 3 in the nation in gambling would seem to me to be, in the heart, you're really saying, all this experiment around our periphery, enough is enough. So my hope would be, and I directed that the mayor at this late date would come out tomorrow. He might then face the public and say, you didn't elect me to put it on a ballot for you to decide whether or not you want to put a casino in the center of your city. I'm going to step up to the plate. I commissioned a study. I'm going to evaluate it on the basis of whether I believe, as mayor, I want a casino in the heart of my city to go with the other attractions that are here. Earl, you want to take a minute? Have you run into any place where gambling has been economic development?
Las Vegas.
Well, come on. Well, no, don't get Las Vegas. I got my Las Vegas stuff here. Out there. I'll take any questions. Let's let Earl.
So does Fort Wayne need gambling, or does gambling need Fort Wayne? I guess that's the question that I've been brought here to help discuss. The information that we have is that gambling has $3 in social costs per dollar of benefits. The number is actually $3.10. We also know that gambling draws predominantly from people that live 35 to 50 miles away or less, and so most of the revenues would be coming from this area. A good analogy might be to a restaurant. If Fort Wayne were to add a restaurant, that would be good. You'd have another place to eat. But nobody would believe seriously that the taxes that restaurant paid, or the people it employed, or its revenues weren't coming at the expense of competing businesses in the area. There would be a difference, and that is that the restaurant doesn't create social costs the way gambling does. So that's the essential difference. Looking at the Fort Wayne area, this does not appear to be the type of situation where you could argue that gambling will be a win for the area. If you do a few studies, you can get a picture somewhat of what the revenue stream might look like. And so of a representative $1,000, perhaps 500 of that would come ultimately from problem and pathological gamblers. Another 367 would come from miscellaneous retail and wholesale trade in the nearby area. Another $66 would probably come at the expense of local restaurants. You start adding up the numbers, and they don't appear to lead you to believe that they are high enough to counteract the social costs, which gambling unfortunately also carries with it. So tomorrow I will do a little bit better job maybe of explaining why I give you these numbers, but that's the message that I hope to present.
I think we'll open it for questions in a second, but I want to really commend John and Greg and Bishop Duker. Those of you that were willing to stand up, it's not easy to take on the gambling promoters, but when you've got to confront your own elected officials about their stewardship, that's an awesome responsibility, because there's not something that you're going to gain from it if you're really putting yourself out. And the fact that you were willing to do that back in February, I think, has created a positive